I am socially phobic. I got married in a flash and haven't dared to see my CEO husband once in 3 years. When we meet again, I am chasing after a handsome guy in a bar asking for his contact information. I have never had a husband since I was a child. The man suddenly sneered. Then did I get my marriage certificate with a dog? The familiar tone suddenly gave me a shiver. Looking closely, my husband, who has been on an overseas assignment for 3 years, and has a not-so-good temper, seems to be back. My best friend has been dumped again. She was crying her heart out in the bar. Please God, give me a boyfriend. I really can't bear the pain of a breakup. After saying that, she pointed at a long-legged man sitting in the shadows not far away and begged me, just him. Can you help me get his contact information? I yawned. No. I have morals. After all, I am married. Although I haven't seen my husband once since getting married. My best friend looked at me. Woo woo woo. Without a handsome guy. I want to get back together with my ex-boyfriend. A few minutes later, holding my best friend's cell phone, I knocked on the man's back with a smile. He turned around. His side profile looked stern and sharp in the dim light of the bar. Hello, handsome guy. Is it convenient to add WeChat? I asked obediently. He looked down and saw me. The gaze behind the gold-rimmed glasses was unfathomable. My best friend's eyesight is really sharp. This person at first glance is a steady and self-controlled man. His whole demeanor is out of place in the noisy environment. Since he came in, he has been sitting in the corner. From time to time, he turns his head to talk to the people around him. His speech and behavior are proper and elegant. The point is, he has a face that looks like he will have many descendants. At first glance, he is very capable. Sorry, I don't have WeChat. The man mercilessly refused me. His eyebrows and eyes were indifferent, like the morning mist, making it hard to figure out. There were low laughs around. WeNCI. So heartless. I just wanted my best friend to have something good. I had to hold up the cell phone high and look at him obediently. I have never had a husband since I was a child. For my sake, who is so pitiful, the man narrowed his eyes and started watching me cry pitifully but remained unmoved. I was a little guilty. This trick works every time on others. There's no reason it doesn't work on him. Suddenly, a sharp light flashed before my eyes. The priceless collar button caught my attention. A spring limited edition of a well-known brand. A few months ago, I bought it at a high price and sent it to Europe. To maintain our relationship with my cheap husband, and tell him to work at ease abroad. I am socially phobic, so I won't go to see him. However, at this moment, it is neatly embedded on the man's suit. Familiar. I suddenly had a bad premonition. WeNCI. WeNCI? The people around burst out laughing. WeNCI. Didn't you say your wife is socially phobic? She looks very lively. The light and shadows fell on WeNCI's side face, adding a bit of gloom. I turned around and ran. On the way, I was grabbed by the collar and dragged back, only hearing his voice cool and unhurried. Song. You have never had a husband since you were a child. Then did I get my marriage certificate with a dog? I was pulled to the middle of the crowd. Only then did I find out that their group came to discuss business. Do people with social phobia like to come here to play? WeNCI, having free time, started to pay special attention to me. I immediately shook my head like a rattle. No. This is my first time here. If WeNCI knew that I was in the country, swiping his card and living freely, would he kill me? Miss Zhang, we meet again. Where's your boyfriend from last time? Suddenly someone familiar put an arm on my shoulder. It was the bar owner. My hand trembled. I pointed at him tremblingly. You, don't talk nonsense. The bar owner realized something and quickly covered his mouth. WeNCI suddenly laughed and put a stack of banknotes on the table. If she has any other consumption, tell me all at once. The owner beamed. Oh. She ordered male models a few times. Oh. Wei Nci faintly curved a smile. Male models. More suitable for socially phobic people. Traitor. On the way back. Wei Nci didn't talk to me anymore. Sitting in the car. He was revising contracts on a tablet. I chattered beside him. Last time the male model was ordered for my best friend. And that man is my best friend's younger brother. A younger brother who is good-looking and can call me sister. Wei Nci lowered his head. His expression unfathomable. His slender knuckles tapped on the laptop. The sound was like a death knell, making people's hearts flutter with panic. I was a little panicked and took out my cell phone for help. I found that the group chat with my best friends had already exploded. Dozens of voice messages densely occupied the interface. I grinned and pressed the cell phone to my ear. I bet 10 cents that Song can get WeChat. She just said that this man has a face that looks like he will have many descendants. Getting pregnant with twins overnight is not a dream. I was just about to tell them that I mistook the person. Then I found that the atmosphere in the car was a bit strange. Wei Nci was looking at me inferently. His thin lips were tightly pursed. The anger seemed to be barely suppressed. My loud plotting half an hour ago was leaking out word for word from the external speaker of the cell phone. This man is so handsome. Give him to you. How about having a child without a father? A driver silently raised the partition. In the dark and cramped space, Wei Nci put down the tablet. Many descendants. Having a child without a father? Wei Nci repeated my words word by word without warmth. Song. Such good fortune. Why don't you want it? I shivered and was about to shrink into the crack of the door. I am weak. I don't want it. Wei Nci took off his glasses and leaned back, exhaling deeply. Just when I thought that he was old and didn't plan to care about me, he unbuttoned his shirt and grabbed me, pulling me over and pressing me on his lap. He ordered with a sneer, "Take off your skirt. If you dare to say no, I will kill you." The car stopped at the old Yu family mansion. Late at night. The villa was brightly lit. I got out of the car following Wei Nci. Dressed like a virtuous woman. The miniskirt and black stockings were messily thrown in Wei Nci's car. He glanced at me and reminded me lightly, "Button up your shirt." I thought he was going to lose control. It turned out that he brought me back to attend a family banquet. As soon as the door opened, there was a girl in a milky white slip dress standing inside. "Brother ACI. You are back." Wei Nci's stepmother explained with a smile. "When I heard you were back, Yun insisted on coming to see you." Yun is the daughter of Wei Nci's stepmother's best friend before she got married. She has a good relationship with the elders of the Yu family. It is said that before, the Yu family always favored the marriage between Wei Nci and Yun. Later, Yun went to Europe to study literature. And then this matter was dropped. But some people say that Wei Nci went to Europe on the second day after marrying me to chase after her. Did she come back with him this time? Wei Nci's stepmother smiled and pulled out a chair. "Come. Xiao Yun. Let your brother ACI sit next to you." Wei Nci was about to call me, only to see me with a green light in my eyes, floating over like a wandering spirit. "Is there anything to eat? I'm starving." Then I sat down next to Yun with one butt. Now there is only one empty seat left. The position opposite me and Yun. Wei Nci's stepmother was a little embarrassed and had to let Wei Nci sit next to her. During the meal, I sat opposite Wei Nci and buried my head in eating. On the table, the elders were all praising Yun for her achievements. "Xiao Yun, are you staying here after returning to China this time?" She hinted at something and shyly glanced at Wei Nci. Wei Nci lowered his head and ate. From time to time, he talked about some business matters with his father, as if he didn't hear. Then, while talking, he switched my favorite little cake to in front of Yun, and gave me a plate of stir-fried vegetables. The scene was extremely quiet. Only the sound of cups and plates clinking remained. I was just about to curse, but the fork fell to the ground. As I bent down, I just saw Yun's little feet without slippers stretching towards Wei Nci's suit pants. Oh, they are having an affair right under my nose. Provoking me? I stood up, took a deep breath, and suddenly raised my foot to rub against Wenci's leg. Clatter. Wenci's chopsticks suddenly fell on the plate. Although we are not very familiar with each other, such behavior is a bit abrupt. But who cares? I. What's wrong with you? Facing my malicious inquiry, Wenci coughed lightly and looked normal. Nothing. I was chewing on a piece of bread with a smile. My foot continued to rub upward. Wenci's face stiffened. He looked up and stared at me faintly. Song. Are you done eating? No. I blinked. Take a break. Because of my intrusion, Yen's foot was desperately rubbing back and forth on my calf. Her eyes were full of doubts. Why didn't Wenci react? I grinned. Every time Yen moved, I followed suit. Wenci's handsome face gradually darkened. Finally, he suddenly clamped my foot between his legs. I couldn't pull it out no matter what. This time it was my turn to panic. Staring at him in astonishment. Song, why aren't you eating? Wenci asked with interest. Is it affected by something? No. I gritted my teeth and still had to politely keep smiling. The next second, the foot hidden under the table became even more excessive. The veins on Wenci's hand stood out. Can't you be a little more obedient? Seeing me grin, Wenci suddenly let go of me and stood up. I'm done eating. Enjoy your meal. After saying that, under the gaze of the whole family, he hurriedly went upstairs. Yun put down her chopsticks in a second and followed. I have something for you. Like a butterfly. She chased Wenci to the study. I have something for you. I was lying in the bedroom, speaking sarcastically to my best friend. If you like her so much, why did you marry me? The best friends were chattering. I think he is ing at you. Showing off his charm. It means that with this trick, he can win over many young girls. He won't be at a disadvantage in an open marriage. So you should respect him more. I got up from the bed in a jiffy. Then what should I do? The best friends gritted their teeth. Flirt with him. Wait until he is moved and then dump him hard. A few minutes later, I slowly approached the study. Quietly pushed open a small crack. A glimmer of light leaked out from inside. Wenci was sitting in front of the computer as if he was in a meeting. The soft blue light illuminated his well-defined features. The white shirt was rolled up to his forearm. The glasses frame was slightly drooping, looking like a refined scoundrel. The voices of my best friends chattering came from the earphones. Song, don't be afraid. Wear Wenci's shirt and charge forward. I looked down at Wenci's white shirt. It was tied by me into a body-hugging style that fit my waistline. 2 long thighs were exposed. Feeling chilly. If I can't win him over like this, I have lived in vain for so many years. I gritted my teeth and suddenly pushed the door open. The door hit the wall, making a heavy thud, attracting his attention. Wenci's eyes fell on my clothes. His eyes darkened. Song, is there something? I didn't pretend anymore. I coughed lightly and pushed the door open and walked in openly. I paced to his desk, casually looking around. Wenci leaned casually on the pillow. There was a hint of scrutiny hidden in his gentle gaze. Provoking me? I jumped onto his desk and gently stepped on his thigh with my foot. I said with a smile, Wenci, let's discuss something. Wenci's gaze swept over my toes. He said gently, sure. You say. Since we are not familiar with each other, I think there is no need to continue getting familiar. Rather, let's each play our own way. As soon as the words fell, there was silence in the room. Wenci's expression remained unchanged. His tone was very soft. What did you say just now? Afraid that he couldn't hear clearly, I raised my voice. I said, each play our own way. The next second, someone pushed the door in from behind. Wenci I think tomorrow's board meeting. Father Yu's voice got stuck in his throat. Wei Nci immediately pulled me onto his lap. His broad hand held my waist. A desk just covered my lower body. Dad. Why are you here? The sudden silence made the scene extremely awkward. I was so scared that my mind went blank and I wished I could crawl into a crack in the ground. Don't expect me to explain. I am socially phobic and can't explain. Father Yu cleared his throat. There are some things I want to talk to you about. It seems it's not very convenient now. Wei Nci pressed me into his arms, looking at my flushed earlobes. A glimmer of smile flashed in his eyes. Dad. I asked her to come. He took the blame on himself. Father Yu absently scratched his head. Young people are full of vigor. But pay attention to the occasion. Song is a girl. Don't always torment her. Yes. Wei Nci listened to the lecture seriously. It won't happen next time. Father Yu left in a hurry. The room became quiet. Wei Nci's scorching body temperature passed through his shirt and was completely transferred to me. This posture was a bit too ambiguous. Especially the touch below made me dare not move at all. After a long while, a teasing voice came from above my head. If you like wearing it. Next time I'll buy a smaller size? Damn it. Is it fun to tease me? Amid his laughter, I covered my face and fled in defeat. The next day, I fled back to my apartment in the urban area. Unexpectedly, Wei Nci's secretary came to the door soon after. He put the change of clothes in the master bedroom and said with a smile, Wei Nci bought some new small-sized shirts. He said you know what to do with them. I blushed again and stuffed them all under the bed. In fact, today I am going to attend a book signing event. Since 3 years ago, under the instigation of netizens, I casually posted a few hundred words of a short essay on mine. The creative journey has been unstoppable ever since. So far, I have written more than 6 million words in a grand style. Of course, there is a secret that cannot be known by Wei Nci. I once wrote a novel using both of our names. So far it is still on the completed list. If you type Wei Nci on the website, what you find is not only his personal encyclopedia but also the news that he is rated as the male lead with the most sexual tension. Who knew that just by writing casually, I could put him on the list? Fortunately, Wei Nci doesn't pay attention to this. If nothing unexpected happens, he probably will never know in his lifetime. The book signing event is set in the bustling city center. Many fans came to the scene. In addition to the book signing session, the organizers also reserved some time for fan interaction. When Wei Nci led the business inspection team passing by, my little fan was enthusiastically asking, Madam, when will the book about Wei Nci be published? I said with a smile, currently I am revising the manuscript. When the time is right. Coincidentally, as soon as I looked up, I saw Wei Nci standing on the second floor neatly dressed, listening to my speech with deep and focused eyes. Although it was such a long distance, it seemed as if I saw his slightly raised eyebrow. My heart skipped a beat. It seems that things can't be hidden anymore. The fan club also brought the comic adaptation and fan fiction of the male-led Wei Nci, and asked me to display and read them in public. Wei Nci stood there and listened to the entire interview session. Almost as soon as it ended, I ran away. On the way home, I received a message from my agent. Tao. You've been exposed. What's been exposed? Zhao Zhu's fans said that you're marrying in place, plagiarized her. Mr. is a little sweet. Marrying in place is the one with Wei Nci and me as the protagonists. This made me, who was already in a terrible mess, even more headache. Zhao Zhu is a new star in the online literature world in recent years. In a period when traffic is generally low, relying on stitching and plagiarism, she jumped into the ranks of top authors. Not long ago, she quietly put the character design of Wei Nci into her book, and also copied several important plots. Before I could defend my rights, her fans found something wrong. These people didn't look at the creation time, holding the color palette, They blindly accused me of plagiarism. Tao sneered. She is probably scared to death by her fans now. I was autistic. Tao nudged me. Don't be angry. The situation is in our favor. Looking at the rapidly rising hot search, I started to have a headache. Why at this time and in this way did it become popular? Can my secret still be kept? Because I found something wrong. I sat in the coffee shop at my doorstep and didn't dare to go home. Suddenly a familiar voice came from behind. No more. I don't dare to compare with my predecessors. Looking in the direction of the sound, I actually saw Yun. She was sitting with several girls. The girl opposite was full of admiration. Madame Xiaoshu. I think you write much better than Song. Keep going. Yun's tone was light. This book is being negotiated for publication. I'll give you a copy then. Great. Thank you. I carried my coffee and walked over. Are you Xiaozhu? The girl was a little dissatisfied. Who are you? I smiled slightly. I am Song. The fan shrank her neck and left. Just in time to make room for me to sit opposite Yun. Yun said with a smile, sorry. My fans have offended you recently. I hope you don't mind. I know you posted earlier than me. But I haven't read your work. She paused and laughed. And I think there are some places in your writing that are quite embarrassing. It's not good to be seen by elders either. I sneered. Then please explain why the male leads growth experience, family background, personality, and the details of his living environment are exactly the same as mine? Yun paused for a while. You can use him as material. Can't others? I suddenly remembered that the female lead in Xiaoshu's book once studied in Europe. She had a crush on the male lead for more than 10 years. Finally, her dream came true after returning home. I lost the desire to chat with her anymore. Before leaving, I said to her, Miss Luo, there is no sign of me divorcing Wenci. Don't dream too early. Yun was so angry that her little face turned pale. She didn't say a word. When I got home, I locked myself in the study. I opened the works of both sides and started to sort out the timeline, seeing my own words subtly integrated into her work by the other party. And there were even readers sending bullet comments behind. Wow. So beautiful. The author's conception is exquisite. It's the best one I've ever read. I was on the verge of breaking down several times. Gradually. It was already late at night. Wenci pushed open the door of the study, and saw me staring at the computer gloomily. My eyes were red. I was muttering. Plagiarist. I'll hammer you into the 18th level of hell. He turned on the light and walked over. Song. What's wrong? Seeing the person in question, I hurriedly closed the computer. But he reached out to stop me. Why are you panicking? Isn't it just that you wrote me into the novel? As for writing so hard that you forget to eat and sleep? He didn't tell on me to my parents. Before getting married, my mother repeatedly warned me, don't do anything too crazy after marriage. If nothing unexpected happens, Wenci should be able to ensure that you have no worries about food and clothing for the rest of your life. But I am not made of mud. I always have my own hobbies and ideas. I still stubbornly covered the computer and said, I've been smeared. Wenci paused. By whom? A few minutes later, Wenci sat in front of the computer and fell into deep thought looking at the densely packed color palette. In the large sections marked in red, it was almost as if, you are the male lead was marked. I sat up straight like a student who made a mistake. From time to time, I secretly glanced at him. On Wenci's glasses, rows of fierce words were reflected. Even I felt that it was a waste to let a pair of eyes used to reading business contracts look at erotic literature. After a while, Wenci gently took off his glasses, closed his eyes and pinched the bridge of his nose. I tentatively said, otherwise, let me do it myself. It's okay. Wenci opened his eyes again and hinted. I can still bear it. Obviously. For the latter half. He couldn't bear it very well either. I saw Wenci eyes or reddish at the corners. He held Song's waist and whispered softly. Harder. Song chuckled. You always hated me flirting. Why are you asking me to be harder now? I turned from defense to offense. Looking at the panicked Song, he said, rather than relying on you, it's better to rely on myself. Silence fell in the study. I awkwardly pointed to Xiaoshu's text. Please mark harder, in yellow. She copied it. I controlled the cursor and slowly selected it. Asked, do you like it rougher? Also, not bad. During the time when I was sorting out the timeline, public opinion on the internet began to ferment. Song posted earlier than Xiaoshu. Why say Song plagiarized? It is said that Song revised the text later and changed it according to Xiaoshu. There are pictures and evidence. The pictures that Yun's fans don't know where they got from were continuously forwarded. There was no time to refute the rumors. What's more annoying is that Xiaoshu posted a dynamic. Originality is my bottom line. Adapted from my personal experience. The male lead has a prototype. With this sentence. Soon. I's real identity was exposed. Oh my god. Song is so disgusting. She not only plagiarized but is also a fangler. My classmate said that Xiaoshu and I graduated from the same high school and separated after the college entrance examination. So Xiaoshu is the real female lead of I in reality. Song. You thief. I was just about to post our marriage certificate when I found that the system had muted me. Tao was jumping with anger on the phone. Those people are so dirty. A large number of reports in a short time. You don't post frequently. Your account weight is not high. So you were mistakenly blocked by the system. It can't be processed on weekends. Now where can we find an account with a large number of fans to refute the rumors? I watched helplessly as I was pushed to the hot search. I was called Sleeping Sister, because I love to daydream. What's more, some people even went to I's Weibo. Crazy posting the fragments I wrote in the comment area. I heard that Yu's group's legal team is very powerful. Song fantasizes about you. Aren't you going to sue her? Song has caused trouble for others. Don't you explain? What's the relationship between you and Xiaoshu? Are you childhood sweethearts? This matter soon alarmed the elders of both families. My dad immediately called me. What are you writing nonsense? I didn't write nonsense. It's just a hobby. My dad mercilessly interrupted me. Which proper girl speaks randomly on the internet? Your in-laws have called me. Now go find I and explain this matter clearly. After saying that, he angrily hung up the phone. Our family has always been quite traditional. My parents have been busy with business since I was young. Their requirement for me is to study hard and be well behaved. No one cares what I like. What I want to do in the future. During the college entrance examination, they crossed out my favorite literature and changed it to economics and management. I thought that after getting married and leaving home, things would be different. I went to I's company. He should have just finished an important meeting and was walking out of the conference room, surrounded by a group of financial journalists. I don't know where a gossip journalist sneaked in, holding up a cell phone. He blatantly interrupted and asked, I, what do you think about being written into a cheesy romance? Will your legal team ask the other party to pay compensation? I, who was speaking, paused. On the phone interface, there were thousands of comments mocking me. He glanced at his phone and then looked directly at the journalist. Security. Please ask this gentleman to leave. After saying that, he saw me standing at the door looking aggrieved. I took off the microphone on his tie. Excuse me. He walked through the crowd, came up to me, and naturally took my hand. He said to several colleagues, sorry. There's something at home. I'll leave first. Lead by him. I entered the office unimpeded all the way. Towards dusk. The blinds cut the afterglow into warm yellow halos. I led me to sit down beside the sofa, and went back to pour a cup of warm water. For this kind of thing, just give me a call. What? He took out his phone and was looking for something on it. A few minutes later, my phone vibrated. It was a message reminder. Just now. NCI blatantly me with his main account. The caption was, married. Such a short and powerful reply was pinned by NCI on top of various company promotions and news. It almost instantly exploded on the hot search. Damn. There's a reversal. NCI and Song are really a couple. This man is tough and doesn't talk much. A wife-protecting maniac. My fans were so excited that they had tears in their eyes. They all Xiaoxu. Come out and apologize. Having a crush on a married man. Shameless? Xiaoxu didn't reply. NCI calmly picked up his coat. What do you want to eat tonight? You want to go home? NCI laughed. May I ask where a married person like me can go if not home? Oh. On the way back. NCI was driving. In the evening. The traffic was heavy. I sat in the passenger seat, and was a little restless. Because my dad was calling NCI. The phone was on speaker. ICI. Sorry. It's our negligence in discipline. NCI looked directly at the traffic in front of him. His index finger gently tapped on the steering wheel, making a dull sound. It's not a big deal. What she likes is the most important. The brilliant sunset was like shattered fireworks, sprinkling on his face and body. His warm voice inexplicably calmed the restlessness in the bottom of my heart amid the noisy traffic. I stared at NCI in a daze. I saw him smiling at the corners of his mouth and said, interesting things. If they disappear because no one supports them, I think it's a pity. My dad sighed. Hey. The internet is too complicated. She has no experience. I'm afraid she. If it weren't for you covering for her. Don't worry. I'll take care of everything. An emotion called being moved surged in my heart. Before it could fully rise, it suddenly stopped. Wait. Interesting things? After he hung up the phone, I tentatively asked hesitantly, your novel. You. NCI very calmly completed my words. I read it. I read it all. I shivered. Then I heard him add, it's quite good. I'm looking forward to more updates. Madame. I silently shrank into the corner and took out my phone. Sisters. Be on high alert. That night, the group chat with my best friends exploded again. Help. Why does he like to read your writing? Will he? When he sees the passionate scenes. I huddled under the quilt. Don't ask me. I don't want to know. For us writers, our pen names coexist with our lives. Now, the pen name is exposed. And it's known by the person in question. Rounding it up. It's like I'm already dead. My best friend quietly suggested, otherwise. You go for it. Anyway. You two have got the marriage certificate. Isn't it normal to do something? I took a bath, and lay on the bed thinking over and over. According to the routine, NCI is going to sleep in the study tonight. But really, can't we do something? I got up suddenly and decided to talk to him. There is a huge floor-to-ceiling window in the study. Neon lights usually stay on all night. When I pushed the door open, only a very dim light was on in the room. NCI was sitting in front of the computer. The silent "we love the mouse" made an imperceptible dull sound. NCI looked up. The glasses were loosely perched on the bridge of his nose. His gaze was scattered. Not asleep yet. His voice was very soft and a little hoarse. I stood hesitantly at the door. You're not asleep either. He stared at me without moving. But his gaze brought a hint of aggression. I was so nervous that my palms sweated. I just came to thank you. Come in and thank me. I originally wanted to quickly say thanks and then slip back to the bedroom. Now suddenly I had no excuse. The neon light and shadow passed through the glass and outlined NCI's elegant and clear outline. I walked in and stood at a certain distance from him. NCI took off his glasses and closed his eyes. Song. How do you want to thank me? This question stumped me. Remembering what my best friend said. I didn't know where I got the courage. I took off my bathrobe, revealing NCI's smaller sized shirt. Just. Thank you like this. They said this is called repeating the old trick. But I feel it's called being at the end of one's rope. I really don't know how to seduce people. Wen's gaze slowly traced over my clothes. Suddenly, he chuckled. Song. Is this all you've got? Is this laughing at me? My face was burning. So embarrassing. I wanted to run back to the bedroom and hide. Never listen to the stupid advice from my best friends again. I'll go first. Before I could finish speaking, Wen suddenly hooked my waist and pulled me into his arms forcefully. The next moment, his scorching kiss landed on my ear. I just happened to like this. You delivered yourself to me. In this way. It's not breaking the rules. Right? Only at this moment did I see what was on Wen's computer. My deleted fragments appeared on his computer. I suddenly panicked. You. How? How are you looking at this? I am also a reader. Why can't I look at it? A faint hoarseness was tinged with an ambiguous color by the night, constantly teasing the sensitive nerves. The man's arm hooked around my lower abdomen, along with the loose shirt. It was tightened and wrinkled. It seemed that something in the air had changed. It became scorching, restless. Wenci. What are you going to do? You. His laughter flowed slowly in the night. Madam. Look up and look at the screen. Whatever you write, I will do. Okay? In the latter half of the night, thinking of the way I said he would have many descendants. In a fit of anger, I fainted. The next day, Wenci handed over the matter of safeguarding rights to his legal team. I sat in the middle of the conference table. The elites opposite looked at the colorful cullet and fell silent collectively. Sorry. I didn't want the wheel to roll over their faces either. Wenci was very calm. Get it done as soon as possible. In just a few days. Marrying in place, rushed to the hot search again. But this time, netizens regarded it as documentary literature. Wow. Does Wenci really tie wrists? As expected of the man on the list. He plays so hard. Author, please update more. I want to see what you guys do in daily life. A few days after signing the power of attorney, Xiaozhu received the lawyer's letter. Regarding her plagiarism, I sued her in court. Several of her books that were being negotiated for film and television rights were also forced to be put on hold. A week later, when I went out to discuss cooperation, I bumped into Yan Had-on at the door of a publishing house. Her documents scattered all over the floor. On the top one, the pen named Xiaozhu was clearly signed. I ignored her and turned to leave. Yan called me from behind. I admit that he has helped you a lot. But if he finds out that it's me who is being sued, guess what he will do? Meeting my puzzled gaze, Yan suddenly took out her cell phone and called Wenci. At the moment of connection, she suddenly burst into tears. A grieved lie. Brother ACI. I haven't told you all this time. I am Xiaozhu. What is written in the book is all true. I have had a crush on you for many years. Can you not sue me? I don't know what Wenci said. After Yan hung up the phone, she instead pulled out a smile at me. Crazy. I rolled my eyes and ignored her. After finishing the cooperation that day, I habitually took out my cell phone. I clicked into Wenci's homepage. The original dynamic announcing marriage had disappeared completely, along with the lawyer's letter on the homepage of the law firm. It also disappeared. This matter has been highly discussed recently, almost at the moment of deletion. Someone opened a new post to discuss. What's the situation? Did the two have a problem? Based on the plots of the two books, I speculate, Xiaozhu and Wenci are childhood sweethearts. Later, Xiaozhu went abroad to study. Wenci couldn't get what he wanted and chose a family marriage. The statement released not long ago was to force Xiaozhu to give in to him. Upstairs. You've read too many romance novels. Right? Art comes from reality. I exited the software and called Wenci. It was his secretary, who answered. Miss Zhang. Wenci just went out in a hurry and didn't bring his cell phone. Do you have something to tell him? I can convey it for you. No need. I calmly put the cell phone in my pocket. After taking a few steps, I suddenly turned around and took a taxi and went straight to ENCI's company. They saw me coming fiercely and didn't dare to stop me. Let me enter ENCI's office unimpeded. Give me the cell phone. The secretary was like handing over a hot potato. After getting the cell phone, I tried several passwords, including ENCI's birthday and my birthday, but couldn't unlock it. I gave up and returned the cell phone to the secretary. In her puzzled gaze, I sent a message to my agent. Tao, aren't we going to participate in an event in another province? Let's go now. At night, Tao and I were soaking in the swimming pool of a 5-star hotel. She looked at the handsome guy by the pool and smacked her lips. You just ran away like this? Didn't you say that if there are conflicts, we should communicate well? I took a sip of cocktail and lay listlessly on the stone. I can't lose face. Originally, I rushed to ENCI's office full of energy just to ask clearly. But he wasn't there. Like punching cotton. After calming down, I couldn't ask anymore. Touted Diet Weiss. You don't want to admit that you like him, right? I mumbled. Listless. What if he really deleted the dynamic for Yun? If I ask at this time, wouldn't it be very embarrassing? It's better to be carefree and unrestrained now. As long as I don't admit it. It's not me who is embarrassed. Tao's expression was a bit complicated. No. You two have slept together. Are you still talking about this? A wave of grievance swelled up in my heart. I was drunk and angrily slapped the water and shouted, We are just friends with benefits. Friends with benefits. Just like that one. I casually pointed at the handsome guy with ABS who was playing in the water not far away, and roared, Sleeping with ENCI is no different from sleeping with any random man. Tao was silent. To be precise. She slowly shifted her gaze to behind me. I seemed to be shrouded in a human-shaped shadow. Looking up, I met that familiar face that was a bit gentle and a bit alluring. ENCI was dressed in a suit, and looked travel-worn. He didn't even have time to change his coat. At this moment, he was standing on the shore behind me. His smile was cool. Oh? I heard that sleeping with me is no different from sleeping with him? I was captured expressionlessly by ENCI. Tao gave me an expression of seeking blessings on my own and silently dived to the bottom of the water. As soon as we entered the room, ENCI threw me on the bed. He began to untie his tie and take off his coat without saying a word. When I was still struggling, he tied me up tightly with his tie. I was drunk and lay on the bed, letting him do whatever he wanted. Song, can't you learn your lesson? ENCI bit my ear punitive lie and gently rubbed it. What lesson? I mumbled. ENCI asked coldly. Did I say that the phone password is the wedding anniversary? I was so dazed by the impact that my vision started to double. What anniversary? What password? Suddenly a cell phone was stuffed into my hand. ENCI got up, took a breath, and gently patted my lower back. Ordering, enter the password. If you enter it wrong, don't sleep tonight. Only then did I see clearly that it was ENCI's cell phone. Suddenly, a cold sweat covered my back. Damn it. Wedding anniversary. He did seem to have said it. But when was it? ENCI seemed to see my difficulty and chuckled softly, like pronouncing a death sentence. Gritting his teeth, he said word by word, 1014. I trembled and entered the password. Click. The phone interface was successfully unlocked. My legs went weak. Only then did I see a reminder on the interface this morning. Due to violations of the community convention in the comment area of this content, it is temporarily blocked. Please file an appeal after properly handling the comment area. ENCI was frustrated with me. If only you remembered our wedding anniversary. Or waited for me to come back after handling company affairs. You wouldn't have said such nonsense tonight. I shakily clicked on the comment area. I almost tripped over my underwear. I didn't expect that the opponent played dirty. It called on trolls to post pornographic X in the comment area. As a result, WeNCI's and the lawyer team's posts were both locked in the small black room. The message announcing marriage was naturally also blocked and invisible. But Yun called you in front of me. You also went out. I thought. Mentioning Yun, WeNCI's tone was flat. The secretary told me that this morning he received a call from a woman. She cried a lot, but he didn't even understand what she was saying. I was not reconciled. Yun is Xiaozhu. Oh. WeNCI's voice was cold. If you feel wronged, find a lawyer. What are you looking for me for? That's right. I'll block her. I said flattering lie and quickly flipped through the call records. Among the dense names, I found a ruthless note. Delivering documents for General Manager Zhao. Me. Is this it? WeNCI didn't even look at it. I don't remember. Opening my cell phone for comparison. It really was Yun's cell phone number. WeNCI turned off the lights and left only one lamp by the bed. Song. Let's continue our previous topic. What friends with benefits? Am I only satisfactory to you in bed? I covered my chest and changed the subject. My heart hurts. WeNCI was angry and amused. I was called a friend with benefits and I haven't felt pain. What's hurting in your heart? Can't we get over this? I racked my brains and suddenly turned the tables. It's not my fault for misunderstanding you. You gave desserts to others at the dining table. When did I give desserts to others? Last family banquet. WeNCI fell into deep thought. The time when I switched okra for you? I folded my arms. I don't remember what dish it was. I don't like vegetables anyway. WeNCI was silent. After a while, he turned me over towards the floor-to-ceiling window. His tone was gentle. Be good. Don't talk anymore. I'm afraid I'll be pissed off by you and Dayoung. Hey. Make it clear. WeNCI hugged me from behind and pinched my chin. In the dim window glass, my dazed eyes were reflected. Suddenly, something flashed through my mind. One spring festival a certain year. WeNCI was overseas and couldn't come back. He called me in advance. This year, a friend of mine is going back to China. The desserts here were not bad. I can bring them back to you on the way. What did I answer at that time? Thank you. I don't like sweets. Do you have okra there? WeNCI paused for a while. It's not convenient to transport back. I'll have someone send you some nearby. At that time, WeNCI remembered my casual answer. WeNCI sneered. Song. It's a pity that I specially put okra in front of you. This is how you remember my kindness. Right? I shrank my neck and wanted to escape but was firmly locked by him and taught a lesson all night. At dawn, WeNCI finished reading the last item in the memo on his cell phone. Last year, you told me that you don't like plush toys. Is that right or wrong? I said weakly. I like them. You will be punished for lying. I don't need to say it. Right? Yes. Then let's start. The next day, I was awakened by a rapid knock on the door. Tao rushed in. The author conference is about to start. Why are you still sleeping? I was weak in my legs. I opened the door with a blushing face. WeNCI was leisurely pouring milk for me. Tao paused and smirked. Oh. I see. I won't rush you anymore. Will Mr. You attend together later? Me? WeNCI smiled. It seems inappropriate. I grabbed the bread on the table, kissed WeNCI, and said, I'll go first. WeNCI had something to do and would stay here for a few days. After the event was over, he would go back with me. As soon as I arrived at the event site, there was a commotion. Song and Xiaozhu appear at the same time. There will be a good show. Sure enough, a few steps away, I saw Yun surrounded by a group of fans. She really enjoyed this feeling of being surrounded by stars. Before the event even started, she had already interacted with the audience in the live broadcast room. It's not plagiarism. There's no such thing. The The publication and film and television rights are proceeding normally. It won't be affected. I looked at Tao in confusion. She was a little embarrassed. Song. You know. After the color palette was posted, the fans on both sides quarreled even more fiercely. When the investors saw the heat rising, they bought it. Nowadays, as long as it can make money, who cares about plagiarism? No matter how despicable a thief is, as long as they become popular, there will always be defenders who speak up for them. I took a deep breath. So, she plagiarized and that's it. Tao pulled me to sit down. Don't be impatient first. Mr. Yu's legal team is very powerful. Maybe we will win the lawsuit. But litigation is not something that can be accomplished overnight. By the time we win, the plagiarist will have made money. A mere few thousand yuan in compensation is a drop in the bucket for them. The platform seemed to think the excitement wasn't enough and specially arranged our seats together. Yin and I looked at each other. She said with a smile, "Recently I went to have my fortune told. People said that my luck has turned. Look, isn't it turning now?" I sat next to her and whispered, "As long as you can negotiate either publication or film and television adaptation, I lose." "Why do you say so?" I propped my chin and blinked. "Because I have money. Having money is great." Yun sat next to me with an unconvinced face, holding a pillow and greeting the readers in a proper manner. I also leaned over and waved, whispering, "Having money is really great." Until the author conference ended. Everyone didn't wait for the expected catfight scene. Instead, a photo of us getting along happily went on the hot search. There were discussions below. What's the situation? A truce? Maybe they are smiling in front of people but stabbing each other in the back. But Xiaochu is really awesome for daring to provoke Song. Song is backed by Yu's group and is real capital. Upstairs, our Song is also very powerful. Okay? After the event ended, I got into the car and rubbed my aching ankle, and called WNCI. "Is it over?" The phone was answered instantly. There was a commotion on the other end. "Where are you?" "At a business cocktail party." I thought for a while and asked, "Is the boss of Jigasing Entertainment here?" WNCI seemed to look for a while and replied me, "Yes." I just asked casually. Who knew it was a lucky hit? "Okay. Wait for me. I'll be there soon." Tao rolled up her sleeves and took out a thick stack of materials. "It's time to work. This time we must mess it up for her." The banquet was extremely lively. WNCI almost noticed me at the first sight. His gaze was fixed on my flashy golden long dress with a waist cincher. I walked over and naturally took his arm. "Where is the person?" WNCI looked at the opposite side. There. The boss of Jigasing Entertainment, Shu Hui, was sitting in front of the sofa with a wine glass in his hand. His eyes were looking at a girl, not far away. His eyes were dark. I walked over and blocked his sight. "Do you need something?" Shu Hui withdrew his gaze and asked. I put a thick stack of materials in front of him. "Mr. Gu, I am here to discuss cooperation with you." He glanced at the names of the two books and smiled. "Sorry. I'm not interested in your internal struggle. And this book was chosen by the marketing department. It shows that it has certain market value. I have no reason to reject it. I know that plagiarism of works is not a stain here. But what if there is a problem with the author?" Shu Hui narrowed his eyes. "What do you mean?" I smiled. "Mr. Gu, Yun once privately claimed that this book was created based on my husband as the prototype. I printed out the chat screenshot sent to me by undercover fans. Yun had openly admitted this fact to the fans in a group of 500 people. And there is a place in the book that mentions that the female lead had a relationship with the male lead when she was underage. I think this plot has already damaged my husband's reputation. I plan to pursue it to the end." Shu Hui thought for a moment and said casually, "We have screenwriters. We can completely change it. It seems to have nothing to do with us if you sue the author." I widened my eyes. Hiss. It is indeed like this. But in the second half of the year, we will have 2 lawsuits in a row. If the battle line is drawn long enough, it will last for 1 to 2 years. On average, every 3 to 4 months. I will put her on the hot search once. Every time it's on the hot search, I will announce new evidence of her plagiarism. It's hard for your company's screenwriters to change the script for 2 years, and then enter the preparatory stage. When it's officially released, it will be almost for years. Your company has a strong foundation. Naturally, you are not afraid of trouble. Xu Hui laughed. You are really determined to mess this up. I smiled. If you are bullied, you always have to vent your anger. Xu Hui finally gave in. For just one drama. If there are too many troubles, of course, it's wiser to avoid it. It's even easier on the publishing side. Tao casually spread a word in the circle. Without saying a word, the publishing house directly canceled the cooperation. Xu Hui withdrew. Other investors couldn't figure out what was going on and didn't dare to invest casually. The two of us were happy and gathered in a corner to drink. When NCI came over, I was already drunk. On the way back to the hotel, I became even more presumptuous and simply climbed onto NCI's lap and scrolled through Xu Hui's moments. That girl looks familiar. Right. She is the youngest daughter of the Zhu family. She seemed to have had an engagement with someone before. But looking at her now, it seems that Xu Hui snatched her away. I was enjoying it with relish while NCI was looking at me. I leaned crookedly on his shoulder and chuckled. You helped me find out. I'm really curious. NCI was amused by me. If I can't find out now, what should I do? I grabbed his hand and pressed it to my chest. Then, scratch it for me. NCI gently turned off the tablet beside him. The surroundings fell into darkness. His flexible and slender fingers slowly moved up along my waistline. Still itchy? I wriggled and kept rubbing against him. Scratch more. Scratch more. NCI's voice was hoarse. You've worn this dress long enough. I just put it on for a while. Oh, NCI didn't waste any words. Drunks are not allowed to talk. In the end, I didn't hear Xu Hui's gossip. A few days later, because Yun's work lost its commercial value and was deeply involved in the plagiarism scandal, the website blocked her work. Many people crowded below to eat melons. So it's really plagiarism. Still stubbornly refusing to admit it. Come out and be beaten. Fans of Xiaoshu. Are you mindless dogs protecting your master? Yun deleted that ambiguous post. She never apologized. One day when I went back to the Yu family's old house for a meal with NCI, his stepmother still said regretfully, Xiaoyun grew up with you. Are you being too heartless by doing this? NCI frowned. I'm just high school classmates with her. If you like to invite her to have meals at home, I can't say anything. But if you think she is more suitable to be a family member than Song, I suggest you divorce my father and move out to live with Yun. Father Yu lowered his head and concentrated on drinking soup. The stepmother's face was alternately green and white. She didn't dare to say another word. On the way home, I was full of doubts. If it's not for Yun, what did you go to Europe for after getting married? NCI sighed. It's for work. At that time, the overseas market was highly competitive. For the expansion of the business territory, I had to go. So is this the reason why you didn't come back for 3 years? NCI smiled slightly. Be good. Do you want to discuss the story of Okra with me? Or discuss her nonsense about being socially phobic and unable to see people? Well, I admit that there is partly my reason for his not coming back. The next day, Yun directly rushed into my studio. Song, your methods are so dirty. If it weren't for the security guards stopping her, she would have slapped me. I shrugged. There's no way. I can't stand thieves being so arrogant. Yun almost shouted. Obviously it's because you are not capable enough. You are jealous of me, I sneered. Jealous of you for what? Your superb ability to plagiarize? If you have the ability, write a manuscript that makes people amazed by yourself. I definitely won't mess with you. A few months later, Yun really wrote a book with good results. Looking at the work with soaring data. Tao sighed. Don't say. Your sworn enemy has something. Yes. I clicked on the end of her new chapter with the mouse. It just doesn't seem very much like hers. Sure enough. A few days later. An unknown little author came forward. Please help me judge. Everyone passing by. The author Xiaoshu plagiarized first and then revised. After being discovered by me, she promised to give me half of the manuscript fee. But now I haven't received a penny. I live in a rental house every day, and can't even afford food. This time, no one helped Yun anymore. There were curses all over the internet. No wonder Song tore her apart. By plagiarizing all kinds of hot topics and putting them together. It's no wonder it's popular. The rat shit in the industry. Get out. This is a rhythm that forces original works to die. After the incident, Yun quickly deleted the new book and posted a post, apologize for the harm caused to new authors. The manuscript fee has been fully paid to her. Someone took out the sentence she posted before. Originality is my bottom line. And mocked it crazily below. Where's your face? Your bottom line has fallen through the center of the earth. Right? Yun's post has been stuck on that day. At the same time, Marrying in Place was happily published. The book signing event was overcrowded. I was so busy that I didn't even have time to drink water. Finally, when it was time for a break, I squatted in the corner with a small cake. While eating, I called WNCI. In fact, you should have come with me today. After all, you are the male lad. WNCI took a break and responded. Eat slowly. Give me half of the cake. Okay. Before I could finish speaking, it suddenly went dark in front of me. I don't know when. Suddenly a person wearing a baseball cap stood in front of me. Do you need something? He suddenly raised a mineral water bottle and poured it on my head. Song. You. Go to hell. The cold liquid instantly poured all over my head. Everyone was stunned by this change. The news and movies I had seen in the past flashed before my eyes. A terrible thought emerged. Is it sulfuric acid? Amid the screams of everyone, I plunged into the fountain pool in the center of the reception hall. When WNCI arrived at the hospital, his face was so gloomy that it seemed water could drip. I saw that I had a bandage on my hand, and was huddled on the hospital bed with red eyes. Tao. It hurts. Blow on it. Tao looked hopeless. Stop being coquettish. Your husband is here. I saw WNCI who had walked up to the hospital bed. I carefully pulled up the quilt and covered my head. What did the doctor say? Fracture of the forearm. Conservative treatment is fine. It's not a big problem. What did that person pour? Mineral water. Tao sighed. It's still non-GFU spring. So luxurious. But it was also a false alarm. The most serious injury is the fracture she got from falling. I didn't know the fountain pool was so shallow. I plunged in forcefully. The liquid on my face was washed away. But my arm was also broken. If nothing unexpected happens, there is already a video of me plunging into the pool on the internet. Tao left. Only the two of us were left in the ward. WNCI sat down next to me. Lifted my quilt. What are you hiding from? I'm afraid you'll laugh at me. WNCI looked at my wrist. Although the result looks stupid. Your decision was right. I think there was no better way to deal with it than jumping into the pool at that time. Seeing him praise me, my eyes lit up. I leaned over and rubbed against him. Come and lie down together. WNCI was clean and had a unique fragrance. He was amused by me. He lowered his head and kissed me. Rest for a few days first. Leave the rest to me. A few days later, I was discharged from the hospital. WNCI rarely took a vacation and stayed at home with me. One day, I was leaning on WNCI and scrolling through my cell phone. I found that one of Yun's hot searches exploded. She was arrested for suspected instigation of assault. What's the situation? WNCI was peeling an apple for me. The person who splashed water on you is an old reader of Yun. I saw the chat screenshots between her and Yun. I really feel wronged for the great author. Yun, alas. There's nothing I can do. A tall tree catches much wind and attracts envy. Today she went to a book signing event. Where? Blue Bay Plaza. I guess. Great author. Wait for me to avenge you. Yun sent a dog head emoji. Thank you. Yun panicked and immediately released a clarification statement. I thought it was just talk. I didn't expect her to really go. I oppose any illegal and criminal acts. I hope everyone can be more lenient. People below were cursing like crazy. You are really bad and stupid. Not to mention whether the actions of fans are right or wrong. Pushing the responsibility onto others after an accident is very disgusting. Curse you. Curse you. Stupid. I took away the cell phone. Yun called you several times. I didn't answer and blocked her for you. Just thinking about it. I knew what Yun wanted to do. Nothing more than hoping that I would explain and spare her. But she had also hoped in her heart that I would be unlucky or even injured. Such a person is not worthy of forgiveness. A few days later, Yun deactivated her account. Completely disappeared from the public site. It is said that she was sued by authors again. This time, the plaintiffs are more than a dozen authors. The compensation will make her lose everything. This year's rainy season at the turn of summer and autumn is long and repeated. But fortunately, the story has a happy ending. As soon as autumn arrived, marrying in place was very popular. The bandage on my hand was also removed. I took me on a vacation in Europe. Standing in his office where he had stayed for 3 years. I only then found out that there was a shopping mall opposite named after my initials. When did you build this? I lay on the floor-to-ceiling window and turned back to ask I. He calmly took off his watch and threw it on the table. I started planning before marriage. Before marriage? So much earlier than I expected. I came over and stuck to my back. I originally wanted to make it a surprise for the first year. I didn't expect you to see it only now. He kissed my fingers carefully, and then pressed them against the floor-to-ceiling window and said, "This shopping mall is yours." My ears were red and my white long dress was already wrinkled from being rubbed. Why did you do this? Because I love you. I bit my earlobe and listened to my rapid and disordered breathing. He became even more unrestrained. I wanted to possess you from the first time I saw you. The first time? Recalling that boring blind date banquet. There didn't seem to be anything special. Perhaps his preference is so unique. The setting sun was dragged into a gorgeous and charming dusk. I didn't say anything and made me helplessly beg for mercy and sob in intense pleasure. The clouds were shattered by the suddenly falling horizon. There came I's deep and hoarse voice full of affection. A single sentence evoked a memory that had been buried deep within me for a long time. In my sophomore year, I participated in the school's exchange student program and spent 3 months in France. At that time, I didn't understand French but was dragged to a private tavern by a friend. She pointed at the man sitting in front of the bar and said, "You can say a sentence to the tavern owner, and he will give you a free drink." I asked what the sentence was. She smiled and said, "It means, I like it here very much." I poked I sitting by the bar and said the sentence with a smile. Surprise flashed in I's eyes. He waved to the bartender and handed me a glass of orange juice. He also said a sentence in French by my ear. Seeing that I didn't understand what it meant, he switched to English. "Only orange juice tonight." Because of this special experience, I had a great affection for him. Every time after school, after having a glass of orange juice here, I would wave to I and say that sentence, "I like it here very much." Later, due to busy studies, I never went there again. This little episode was also quickly forgotten by me completely. Today, my French has improved slightly. So when I said this sentence, I was completely defeated and lost all my defenses. I couldn't even stand steadily. I chuckled. Song. This time you should know the meaning of this sentence. It's not I like it here very much. But rather, I think I'm in love with you. I once spent a whole week confessing to NCI with a smile. Then I disappeared. Until 3 years ago. When we met again at a blind date banquet. This romantic encounter could continue. The end.